Hey everyone, just a quick video going through the practice final exam. Uh, definitely study up on chapter 4. I can't go over these questions because the questions could show up in the final exam. There's nothing to randomize here because they're asking about definitions. So read up on chapter 4 to help you help with the first questions. I can help with these next ones though because the numbers will be different on the exam. So you might remember from chapter 5 doing this type of equation. We have d subtracted by 37 equals 40. To get d by itself, we have to do the opposite to both sides. So if you do that, the letter d equals 77. That's all you got to plug in here. Just to check your work, they want you to plug it back in. And so for this one, trying to get z by itself, that's z divided by 3. So to get z by itself, you got to do the opposite of dividing. You got to multiply by 3. But the equation has to stay balanced. It's going to still talk about something that's true. So you're multiplying 3 to both sides of the equation. 3 times 3 cancels out because that's opposite of division. And then 65 times 3 gives us 195. And again, that's all you have to plug into these blanks. Okay, question 6 comes from your chapter 7 material. This is just where we're supposed to fill out the receipt. So a large amount of purchases were made. There were 17 items, $23 each. All you have to do for that little total position, total space, is take the quantity, multiply it by the unit price. So 17 times 23 gives me $3.91. And then there's 35 of the standard feed, and it's $11 for each item, so that's $385. So there's 39 of this 12 unit item, so I multiply that to get 468. And the subtotal is just where you add these up. So 391 plus 385 plus 468 makes 1,244. And so if you add the shipping charges, makes 1,290. I think it was $1,291 on my calculator. Yep. Okay, question 7 can't fit the whole thing on the screen here, but it says Jennifer works 40 hours a week and they get $7.70 an hour. So what was their weekly earnings? 40 hours. We multiply that by $7.70. That's a lot faster than doing $7.70 for the first hour, plus $7.70 for the second hour, plus $7.70 for the third hour, right? Multiplication is a way of adding something to itself a certain amount of times. So their wage is $308 for the week. Question 8, Paul earns $7.55 per hour for regular time. That means up to 40 hours. Paul gets time and a half for overtime. Paul gets double time for working on holidays. So we're supposed to find out how much money they make if they work 58 hours. So 6 hours were holiday. Here, there's 6 holiday hours. There's 40 regular hours. So if you take 58, subtracted by 40, subtracted by 6, that means there's 12 hours that are overtime. And so we can use that to help us calculate how much Paul earned. So Paul's holiday hours, he gets double time on holiday. So 6 hours times 2 times $7.55. The 2 is for the double time that Paul is working. So Paul got $90.60 for those holiday hours. Regular hours is no multiplied by 2 or anything like that. 40 hours at $7.55 an hour. So that's $302. And then we got 12 overtime hours. That's time. They're getting paid time and a half. So 12 hours at 1.5, which represents time and a half of our $7.55 an hour. So if we multiply those, $135.90. Okay, that's the pay for each individual type. Overtime, regular, etc., etc. So adding them all together gives Paul's total pay. Paul gets $528.50. Question 9 comes from Chapter 10. It's talking about simple interest. Unless they say compound interest somewhere, then we're going to assume it's simple interest. Okay, I equals PRT. The interest is equal to the principal. We start with 1,600 times the rate, which is 8% as a decimal, times the time in years. So you can't just plug 54 in here. You got to divide by 12, because when they tell you 8% interest, what they're implicitly saying is 8% interest per year. I mean, they really should take the time and just say it's per year, so that nobody gets confused. So this loan has $576 in interest. So the maturity value, which means how much they have to pay at the end, is the $1,600 that they borrowed plus the $576 in interest. And add those up, and that's all you have to do for question 9. Question 10, find the amount of interest on the loan. Same thing here. I equals PRT. So the interest is equal to the principal times the rate. Now look, 8 3/4. If you convert 3/4 to a decimal, do 3 divided by 4 in your calculator. That's 8.75. So 8.75% is 0.0875 as a decimal. And in case you're, I guess I wasn't with you guys when we calculated this, but 8.75%, to convert that to a decimal, you divide by 100. The percent form is always the bigger form. You know, there's percents and it's decimal form. The percent's always supposed to be bigger. So that's our decimal form here. And again, this has to be in terms, right now it says 9 months. 9 months, we have to convert that to years by dividing it by the number of months in a year. So it looks like $4,593.75 in interest. Question 11 is talking about compounding, so that means it's chapter 11. The number of compounding periods, look, it's 8 years, and we're compounding quarterly, so 4 times a year. 8 times 4 gives us 32. There's 32 compounding periods. And the rate per period, remember when we did it by hand before we started using the formula, the rate per period just means you take the percentage rate for the year and you divide it by the number of compounding periods. So 4% divided by 4 equals 1% per year. Question 12, Brian invests $13,500 at 8% interest, compounded semi-annually. So we're supposed to find the compound amount, which is, in other words, the future value. How much money do they have at the end if they park this and let it collect interest? So to do that, we need the compound interest formula. And you might see different letters, but they all should be the same thing, compound interest formula. That's K times T in the top there, right? Okay, so to plug everything in where it's supposed to go, Brian invests $13,500, so that's the starting amount. 8% interest goes in for R, so that's 0.08. And the number of compounding periods, they say they compound semi-annually, so K is 2. And we raise that to the 2 times the number of years, 2 times 2 up here. So what I did on the live session was we did 0.08 divided by 2, and then add that to the 1 inside the parentheses. That's 1.04. And then in the superscript position, 2 times 2 gives us 4. And now we can take care of the exponents. I'm going to do 1.04. I'm going to hit my exponent button. Or if you want to do it by hand, you could just do 1.04 times 1.04 times 1.04 times 1.04. So we get this big long thing. And that's what this part represents. So I'm just going to keep that in my calculator and multiply that by the 13,500. So $15,793.09 goes here. Question 13, calculators are okay. So probably the trickiest part of this one is to convert that second number to a calculator, to a decimal. That's 224 3/4. So if you convert 3/4 to a decimal, actually we already did it once in this video, right? That's 0.75. 224.75. And just make sure to punch it in left to right. So 563 and 59 thousandths. What are we doing? Question 14. Oh, I wonder if it cut some of it off. What are the Social Security and Medicare withholdings for an executive whose annual gross earnings are $134,500? Look, they're telling us to use $128,400 for the Social Security tax cutoff. It's different in modern day, okay? But for this textbook, when it was written, it was down to $128,400. What that means is that they don't get taxed this full amount by 6.2%. Instead, their Social Security tax is going to be just using the upper cutoff, $128,400. So if you multiply those, so their Social Security tax is $7,960.80. Okay, don't use the full $134,000 for this one. And the Medicare tax, there is no cutoff. Yeah, they're an employee. They're an executive, so they're an employee of a company. If they were self-employed, the percentages would be double, right? Because of what we said. When you're self-employed, you pay the employer and the employee side of things. Question 15 is asking you to break it down to semi-monthly paychecks, bi-weekly paychecks. If they're paid this monthly, you should start by finding out how much they're paid annually. So we're going to multiply that by 12. So 1,700 times 12 gives us 20,400. That's their annual salary. And we can use that to find out their semi-monthly salary. Semi-monthly means twice a month. So the number of pay periods there would be 24. There's 12 months in a year. If you get paid twice per month, that means 24 paychecks. Bi-weekly means you get paid once every 2 weeks. There's 52 weeks in a year. Divide that by 2, that means 26 paychecks. Okay, so all you have to do to fill these out is take your annual salary and divide it by the number of paychecks. And I'll leave the rest just because doing these problems, you're going to see that it's very similar to what you're going to be doing on the final. So bi-weekly, it's the same process. Take the annual salary, divide by 24. And then you can do the same thing for 16. Use the number of pay periods. Take 48,100, divide by 24. That's your semi-monthly paycheck. Question 17. This one is giving us a chain discount. You get 22% off, 15% off, and then 5% off. So the net price factor is found by multiplying by each of those individual net price factors. So in other words, without so much jargon going on here, 22%, that means you get to pay 78% of the product price, right? The product is 100% of whatever they say. Well, if they give us 22% off, 78% is left over to pay. Same thing with the 15. 15% off means you pay 85%. 5% off means you pay 95%. So if you multiply those three, then this is our net price factor, 0.62985. And the net price is just found by taking the list price, multiplying it by the net price factor. So it's $286.96 when we round to the nearest cent. Same exact thing for question 18, okay? Question 19, a boutique buys some merchandise with list price of $3,400. They give us a 40% trade discount. So they say, well, find the trade discount. That means we're supposed to say how much, trade discount. That means how much do we save? That's what a trade discount is. So $3,400 multiplied by the trade discount percentage, 40% off, so that's $1,360. And then final question is a compound. Yep, final question is a compound interest problem. Compound annually, so that makes it a little easier. It means K is 1. So using that formula I put up above, the principal is 2,000. Then it's 1 plus the rate is 10%, so make sure to convert it to a decimal, 0.10. The time is 1. The number of times we compound is 1, and so the time in years is 2. Okay, so let's do what we always do. Simplify the parentheses first. That's nice and easy. 0.10 divided by 1 is 0.10. 1 plus 0.10 is 1.10. And then 1 times 2 in the superscript position gives us 2. So 1.1 squared, you could punch in 1.1 and then hit the exponent key, or you could just do 1.1 times 1.1. And then we can multiply 2,000 times 1.21. So 2,420.